Magic.
What, he's saying he wasn't a superstar?
Well, hold on. The red dot is on. We are live, America. Hey, look who's in the gig. This is Hugo, but we're going to give him a name tonight. He's a guest host tonight. He is a basketball fan. Played some college basketball back in the day. From the Detroit area. Pistons fan?
Grand Rapids area.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah. Pistons fan, though, right?
Pistons fan.
Die-hard, old school Pistons, right?
Old school Chicago Bulls fan, but always got to have love for my Bad Boys Pistons.
Fair. Yes, absolutely. Yes. They're a historic team. One of the greatest defensive teams you will ever see in any era. And that's coming from a Celtics fan who couldn't stand them. Listen, with his IDT field, I don't disagree. The Law Dog, the redoubtable one, the questionable one, highly questionable one back in the house. Speaking of highly questionable, you should have seen our basketball team tonight. Holy shit.
My God.
We can sit there and chalk it up to rust and all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, boys and girls, if you can't beat a 2-3 zone right now, you're not very good. So, and our opponent was talented. To be fair, they were big, they were athletic, they could shoot.
Yep.
They were pretty good. They weren't a bad team.
Yeah.
But we helped them a lot. Put that way.
Felt like we were going to be good in warm-ups, man. I was watching these kids hit all these shots. I'm like, we're going to be all right.
Yeah.
And we weren't.
I mean, so we're going to start with the NBA Finals because I'm sure a lot of you have probably not gotten up from the floor yet from what happened last night. Yes, the Pacers have not taken one, but they have now taken two in a series that most of the so-called experts said would be over in 4 or 5 if Oklahoma City fell asleep. Well, I think Oklahoma City is awake now.
Yeah.
Because if they aren't, they're really, really in trouble. And this is no accident. This is no fluke. Rick Carlisle was a member of the greatest team of all time, the single season anyway, the 86 Celtics. He was Larry Bird's teammate. He also played for Tom Blackburn in Massachusetts, who's a Hall of Fame coach, so he knows how to coach. And he won a title with the Mavericks when they beat that loaded Miami Heat team, the not 3, not 4, that bullshit.
Yeah.
He outcoached Spoelstra in that series. So this is not an accident.
And he got the Luka team there last year.
He got Luka there.
He's not. Yeah.
I mean, the point is that Rick Carlisle, we said there was one advantage in the series. It was the coach. And right now, it is a mismatch.
Big mismatch.
I think it's a big mismatch. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander looked gassed in the fourth quarter.
They can't play any better. You look at the stat sheet, like the first game that Indiana took, they had 24 turnovers. No one should ever win a basketball game when you turn the ball over 24 times. Oh, and by the way, Oklahoma City only had 6 turnovers in that first game, and they lost. Mm-hmm. Last night, it was a 5-point lead at the end of the third. I came to pick you up at the airport, and I click it back on, and they're losing by 9 and lost the game. I didn't see what happened in the fourth quarter. So,
I'm going to be the first to say that I was not on the Indiana bandwagon, and I thought for sure that this was going to be an absolute blowout by the Thunder.
Yeah.
Indiana winning that first game really changed some things. And here we are. They're up 2-1 in the series. And unfortunately, you can't count Indiana out anymore.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, you got to take them seriously.
Halliburton's a legit superstar.
Thank you for being the first to say
this. And I wasn't sold on him in the beginning of the season. I wasn't.
The narrative on him is that he was
overrated.
He was the most overrated player in the league, right?
Well, he was voted by his peers.
Yeah.
That's
well,
he was
what
on
are they
the
saying
Olympic
now?
team.
What are they saying now?
I know, but if you're on the Olympic team, take the Jaylen Brown ridiculous fiasco out of it. But most of these guys that are on that team are usually Olympians. Most of them belong there. So to say he's an all-star too, so I don't know how overrated he really is. When
you mean the Tatum fiasco? Is that what you meant?
No, Tatum was actually on the team. They
didn't let.
Jaylen Brown was not even.
Tatum was on the team, but then he didn't play him.
Yeah, he didn't play him, but he didn't play Halliburton,
which made no sense.
Which still makes no sense. And Halliburton was the other guy that got shafted. But everybody, to your point, thought, well, Halliburton isn't really that good anyway. Really?
I want to know what those same peers are saying about him now. Because now it's at a point where they're up 2-1 in the series. He won that first game. He's done this multiple times.
And what's interesting, too, is that he's not the guy, he's not like SGA where he's got to be like the leading scorer. He can score 14 points and impact the game, and then they'll get help from their bench. They're a lot deeper than I thought they were.
Gee, who does this remind me of? Let's see. Jason Kidd, John Stockton, some guy named Magic Johnson. Guys that don't have to score a lot of points. They're point guards. Yeah. Dennis Johnson, great Hall of Fame. Isaiah Thomas, who didn't always lead, but he 11 to 15 assists and time, to your point, timely baskets when they needed them. Yeah. That's kind of what he does. Mm-hmm. And the names we all mentioned are all first ballot Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. So why, again, this generation hasn't seen these guys because the game's changed. Right. And I would argue not for the better because the pure point guard is kind of an anomaly. He's kind of he's throwback.
Yeah, he is.
He's throwback when we were growing up. The point guard was a true facilitator. He was a great one-on-one player, but it was always about creating shots for his teammates first. He would shoot second. Mm-hmm. Not in this generation, and that's why people look at him, and like I said, he's not sexy, but it's got teeth.
Right.
People like us understand this. It's the young generation going, what the hell is this? What's happening?
Right.
Well, you wouldn't know because these are just names to you. We have seen these games before.
This is going to be a heavyweight fight, man. If OKC
it's already a heavyweight fight.
If they pull it off tomorrow night, now it's going to be best of 3. It'll be good.
I want both your takes on this, and because game 2, the game OKC won, the bench scored 42 points. Mm-hmm. Well, Indiana went hold my beer, and the bench scored 49 last night.
They did.
So I guess the question is, and somebody said this, and I disagree with them. I thought Indiana was the deeper team going into this series. I thought that OKC had more frontline talent, but I also thought the Knicks had more frontline talent. But again, the Pacers were the deeper team. Who do you think is the deeper? Either one of you first. Who's the deeper team? Do you think?
Ooh, they're both 9 or 10
They're
deep.
both 10 deep.
I thought it was OKC.
Yeah, okay. I like Caruso and Dort. And I mean, like, geez, like what he was like 4 of 4 from the 3 range.
Dort's a starter though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but who
kid
else out there?
Mathurin, what's his the kid?
Mathurin, yeah.
That
Mathurin.
dude, he had 27 points last
27,
night, and he did it on 12 shots. You know how hard that is to do? Yeah. He was 9 of 12.
You know who's disappointed me a lot is Chet Holmgren. He's been a big liability in the series when he gets the ball and he puts it on the floor. He drops the ball, he's missing.
Well, because what's his name is getting physical with him.
Yeah.
They're beating them up.
And I know.
That's what happened. They're beating them up.
But he's a big part of the reason why they won the last series too, though.
Sure.
Because he's that guy that doesn't need to put up 20 and 10.
And they have 2 Jalen Williams on
No, but normally he's close.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
He's gonna.
He's
very young.
He's really young. How old is he?
22, 23 maybe.
Yeah, he's not near his prime yet. He will get better.
No.
Yeah. And they have a good coach, so I think he will improve. But he's thin, and you can push him around.
Yep.
And that's what Indiana's doing. Yep. Whether it's Siakam or Evan Turner or Obi Toppin, they're getting physical with him, and he's a finesse player. He does it. By the way, if you go back to the NCAA tournament, this is kind of what happened to him in the tournament. Mm-hmm. Once a team are like, you know what, get in his face and see what happens. Doesn't like it and doesn't respond, to your point, very well to it right now. Now, again, he's young, and he will grow into that, but right now that's a problem.
But I think they have enough there to shift the roles a little bit. Like he doesn't have to do what he did last series.
No,
because they have a lot of other players that can step up. But
Agreed.
Indiana's making some really, really tough shots. They're hitting threes more than they did last series, which was
they were 40% last series.
Were they really?
They've been 40% throughout.
It just feels to me watching them, I'm blown away at some of the shots.
They have been from the start of the playoffs. They have been the best outside shooting team.
And that surprises me.
Yeah. Well,
it does.
Again, they beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee was banged up. They beat Cleveland. Cleveland was banged up. The first time people looked up, the Knicks were healthy. Then people went, whoa, wait a minute. Hold it. Because last year they got swept by the Celtics, but the Celtics were actually healthy last year, and they rolled. But the Celtics weren't even there because they weren't healthy this year, so they didn't see them.
All right,
the Knicks were healthy.
They only had 18 points off the bench last night. OKC. Only 18.
49-18.
Yeah, and listen, Harmelstein's coming off the bench. He should be much better.
Shoot.
Yeah.
That's the other problem.
Can't shoot.
He can't shoot.
Yeah, but he's got that floater.
That's
his only move.
That and the lob, right? That's pretty much all he can do.
But he's a decent defender too.
He is, but I'm saying offensively, you can literally cheat off of him and help.
So let me ask you guys this question: do you think the Detroit Pistons could have beat Indiana? I've had this argument the other day with somebody.
They were deep enough.
But they're also deep enough, too.
If they had Isaiah Stewart healthy,
maybe.
If they had all of their players healthy, I believe they could beat the Pacers.
Maybe they're deep enough.
Hey, look, they gave the Knicks
I'm partial to Detroit.
Big run for their money.
Well, I will say this. I think they're deep enough. I don't think they're, and I like their coach, but I don't think he's as good as Carlisle won.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I think they're deep enough. I don't know if they have enough experience.
But they lost some of those games by less than.
I thought they could have beat the Knicks. Let's be honest, because the Knicks. The problem with the Knicks offense is that the ball is in Jalen Brunson's hands too much.
Too much.
And when you pound the ball into the floor, and I played point guard, so I know this. The defense can reset, and it's harder for you to score. Whereas if you're moving the ball constantly, which is what the Pacers do, and the defense has to keep rotating, even a defense like Oklahoma City's is eventually going to get gassed. And there was no better example. I don't know if you two noticed this last night. In the fourth quarter, a shot went up for OKC, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was near the ball, and he couldn't even go get it. He was gassed.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if you guys saw this, but every time he got fouled, he would stay on the ground like this.
Just like he needs
to
break.
Trying to catch his breath. Mm-hmm. That was no act. He was gassed.
Yeah.
He was gassed. And this series, this is the other thing about tomorrow night. This is a 1 day. Normally it's 2 days.
Yeah.
This is a
1 day rest. Yeah.
This is a 1 day turnaround. Mm-hmm. This does not help Oklahoma City. It does not. Now, to your point, do they have enough firepower to win? Of course they do. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They're well coached. They're still a great defensive team. But the 2 games that they lost in the fourth quarter, it was close, and they lost both of them.
You're right. And they shouldn't have lost game 1 for starters.
Not at all. But the fact that Indiana doesn't stop coming.
Yeah.
They just keep, because they can run 10, 11 people at you, and they just keep running and running.
Yeah.
So final predictions for the series.
Well, mine's got to be amended now because I had OKC 5.
I said 6 or 7 originally. I will tell you this because I don't think OKC is out of this, but I will tell you this: whoever wins tomorrow night is winning this series, and OKC still would have.
I don't disagree.
Yep.
Yeah,
I initially said OKC in 5,
and it's not.
That was my
if
initial
OKC
prediction.
wins tomorrow night, I think they win it in 7.
If they got 2 of the games at home
tomorrow night, I think they lose it in 6.
I think that they'll win it. I think they'll force 20 turnovers like they traditionally do, and I think they'll win. I do. I think they're the better team, in my opinion. I'm shocked that Indiana's up 2 games to 1.
I'm not shocked.
That blows my mind.
Indiana has the better coach, and I think
Indiana's stolen 2 games. I think
they didn't steal last night.
They didn't steal last night.
No.
They were down by 5
game 1
into
they stole
the 4th.
They stole game 1.
They
did
stole
not
game
steal,
1.
but to win this series, you got to steal one on the road.
You got to steal one.
That has to happen.
Dana series
But they didn't steal
defense, right?
last night. That game went back and forth.
I didn't see the fourth quarter, but I was like, once I saw they took 5-point lead going in,
the fourth quarter, they outscored OKC 32-18. They bent them over in the fourth quarter.
That's crazy.
They bent because they ran out of because they can run. I think they're the deeper team. OKC looked gassed, and they're at a disadvantage tomorrow night because they don't have the 2 day. It's 1 day. That's going to be a problem.
It's going to be who's favored in that game tomorrow.
Let's look.
I don't know.
Let's look.
I know
that
take a look. OKC was favored by 5.5 in game 3.
That's crazy.
Yes.
OKC is favored by 5.5.
Interesting.
Again? Mm-hmm. You know,
and they're playing at home, right?
No, they're in Indianapolis.
Oh,
see,
at some point, do you start saying this is just flat out disrespect to the Pacers? Because that to me is
they've been disrespected for the entire.
I know, but they just beat this team down in the fourth quarter, and they're a 5-point dog at home. This is crazy.
I still think I don't know. What I've seen all season from OKC, they've been consistent.
I would say right now this
their
is
defense have been consistent.
I would say right now this is a coin flip series.
Yeah,
it's a coin flip. It's going to come out tomorrow night.
And I think if OKC wins tomorrow night, I think the ratings start going up a little bit. I think it'll really interest people because I know that Game 2 and Game 3 were the lowest since 2007.
Well, if you weren't watching last night, plus it was physical, they were going at each other. These two teams have developed. And again, I didn't know that Gilchrist Alexander and Nembhard, they grew up together.
Oh, yeah.
They know each other.
Oh, yeah.
Like these two, they grew up.
And the series before against Minnesota, there was his boy played on Minnesota squad. I got to look up his name, but
I thought it wasn't his like cousin or something.
Yeah, or his cousin or something.
Yes, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Look, I mean, this Edmonton, Florida hockey Stanley Cup final is.
Well, Edmonton needs to win this game or it's over.
It's over. Yeah.
By the way, as we're speaking to you, there was a Donnie in the brook heading to you. Edmonton was down 3-1, and they have tied it. And we were in the third quarter. We're going to stay with you through this also. But all right, so before we break for segment 2 here, give me your prediction for tomorrow night. We'll go around the table. You give me your prediction for tomorrow night first, and then we'll.
I like OKC by double digits. Okay. I'm going to say OKC. You want me to give you a score?
Nope. Just whether you think it's close, or you think they're going to blow them up.
Yeah, I think Indiana is gonna fold tomorrow. Like you said, they're going to force some turnovers, and I think OKC is going to play like that back against the wall. Like they got to get the win and go back.
Against the wall.
Yeah. They got to play like. I think
it's safe to say their back is against the wall. Right?
Well, I mean,
they go down 3-1.
They go down 3-1. It's really against the wall. But I feel like
they're not beating them 3 times. They're not beating Indiana 3 times in a row. You're not going to tell me that now.
No way. No. So they got to win tomorrow.
They got to win tomorrow.
But I feel like they'll be the physical team. They're going to have to be.
Okay.
What do you think?
OKC will cover the spread. They will win. And I think, and if my predictions are correct, OKC will force another 18 to 20 turnovers. Okay. They will bounce back because when they lose,
they're 12-2.
SGA will have another 30 to 35 points.
Okay, well here's what happened last.
He'll bounce back.
They being Indiana did to him what the Celtics did to Luka Doncic last year. They just ran bodies at him, and they wore him out. In the fourth quarter, he had no legs left. Mm-hmm. There is no reason to think Indiana is going to do anything different and this is one night off. I got Indiana winning this thing tomorrow.
Okay. Interesting.
This team is not going to fold. That coach knows what he's doing. Their players can smell it. And by the way, that gymnasium is just as hostile as OKC. And if you doubt that, you aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
And I can assure you, the Pascal Siakam, who I thought he is part of the reason Chet Holmgren's having a problem.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to. He has a hard time defending him.
Pascal's good.
So
man.
he's good, man. He's playing like a guy who won a ring in Toronto. He's an all-star, and we said it. They're not sexy, but they got teeth.
Yeah.
Indiana can smell it. And by the way, I think Indiana knows if they let them up, they're in trouble. Indiana has to put them down. Now, this is the only chance they're going to have.
Yeah.
I think Indiana is just as desperate. This is their only chance to win this series. They can't lose this game and win the series. They're not going to.
This game is the most important
I think
game.
whoever wins this game is winning the series.
Wow. Okay.
That's what I believe. And I think Indiana's going to do it. And it's going to be close and it's going to be tight, but that's where Indiana thrives. I think OKC, they get in the fourth quarter. If it's tight, they wet themselves. They've done it twice already. Remember, Denver, people forget this. Denver pushed them to 7 games, and Denver had 6 players.
Right.
6. This team has 11. 11. And a better coach. So
it's going to be a great game.
It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yep.
I'll tell you right now, tomorrow night's must-see TV. Yeah. If you're just a casual sports fan, just kind of peeking in, go, whoa. Because you saw what everybody else saw. OKC and a gentleman's sweep is what most people thought. Now you're looking, they're down 2-1. They go down 3-1. This is must-see TV tomorrow. And I think Indiana's going to do it. They've never won this thing. They've only been close one time, and that was Kobe and Shaq got in the way.
No.
There ain't no Kobe and Shaq on this. Okay, I don't care what you tell me. There's no Kobe and Shaq. Shea Gilchrist-Alexander. Nobody's going to tell me he's Kobe Bryant. He ain't.
No.
He ain't him.
No.
And right now they could use him. Because Kobe Bryant would be a different ballgame if it was him and not Shea. I love Shea Gilchrist. He ain't Kobe Bryant. He ain't that killer.
No.
He ain't that killer. We're gonna find out a lot of shit about OKC tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Because they're in real trouble.
Yeah.
They're in real trouble. If you think that this is a fluke, you're nuts. You have not been watching the Pacers.
Yeah.
They have won 2 of the 3 series they've played in 5 games, and they beat the Knicks in 6. And that's because they just laid down in Game 5 because they wanted to win it at home. They could have beat the Knicks in 5 too. This is no accident. It's no accident. So we're gonna take a break. Segment 2, come back. We got to talk Detroit Tigers.
Yeah.
They are on a roll. Best record in baseball.
Yeah, been out like that all year.
We got to talk about them.
Absolutely.
You follow the Tigers?
A little bit.
We need some Tigers. We have also Yankees, Red Sox. The Yankees are coming into Fenway. It was a Donnie last week in the Bronx. That's going to be pretty interesting. Segment 2 coming right up.